different theories are there, which are trying to explain how a particular caste system that has been originated. Okay, and how there are different kind of interaction process are there, or interaction modes are there, through which they are trying to interact with one another, or there are certain kind of systems are there which is trying to facilitate that kind of interaction. For example, in our last part of our yesterday class, we had discussed that is how Jajmani system, it is trying to create that framework where a different caste system they can interact with each other. And the objective, or the, you can say the only motive or only objective to interact with the Jajmani system is that is the without that interaction they may not sustain, or they may not get their livelihood. Okay, so that is uh, the major uh, cause for which they depend on the other caste, or they try to interact with the other caste. Okay, so and the like the theories of caste system, how caste system they have originated. Okay, and how gradation is, that is described. Okay, the concept of purity pollution. Okay, so that kind of it has only brought from book view, that is from the text. Okay, for example, like we are discussing how the Rig Veda, that is explaining the origin of caste system or the origin of Varna theory. Okay, or how that is explaining how a particular caste should be there, and how different they should interact with each other. Okay, and a different other uh, those things. Okay, are is it breaking my voice? Because I have visited another place today, so soon that there will be coming. So, oh, uh, in kind of, okay. Uh, so we found that uh, I think now it is more audible. I have changed my place. So we were discussing how those there are the concept or the viewpoints we have collected from the text only. Okay, and in this unit we will try to compare those book view with the field view. Okay, uh, as we have said that was only the limited part of those text it has been explored, and only that is done by the few elite group of that caste structure. Okay, so uh, we had we have certain idea which is very partial, which does not cover the you can say the regional disparities, or you can say it is not inclusive, it has not included the opinion or the ideology of the different caste system or different caste group. Okay, so in this section we'll try to find out how there are different caste group they have been located, and how actually they are functioning in different parts of the India. And different scholar they have tried to study these caste group by doing field work. Okay, and many new dimensions of caste they are found, which are either not present in the those text, or they are not highlighted in that text. Okay, so we will see that uh, in field or in the actual sense we will not you cannot find, or you cannot found that uh, textual representation of caste system in particular village, or in different parts of the country you will find different structuration or different basis of caste. Okay, um, among those scholars who have tried to bring that field view, uh, the first scholar, or you can say who has popularized the field view, that person is the MN Srinivas. Okay, he has tried to popularize or try to promote that field view to get new dimensions of the caste systems. Okay, so and as we know that his famous two concepts which are actually that are generated from that field study or field view, that is the dominant caste and the concept called dominant caste and Sanskritization. Okay, here in the process of Sanskritization we have understood, or how Srimas explained that process of Sanskritization, that is, it is a process by which a low caste or tribe or other group takes over the customs, ritual beliefs, ideology, and style of life of a high and, in particular, twice one caste. Okay, and the subsidization of a group has usually the effect of improving its position in the caste hierarchy. Okay, so here the uh, we can say this process that has not been included in the text. Okay, so this is also happening. So here we can find that the the caste, as it is functioning in the ground, they are trying to they're trying to aspire to uplift their caste position, and the process by which they are trying to uplift their position, that is called the Sanskritization. Okay, and here they try to observe, or they try to practice the different customs, ritual beliefs, ideology, and style of living of the upper class, and specifically they want to imitate the Brahmins. And through that imitation process they can get the higher position in that caste ladder. Okay, so that is one process. And the other concept that is proposed by Mn Srinivas, that is the dominant caste. Okay, here he wants to explain that in the dominant caste can have the higher, they can have uh, the highest numerical strength in a particular locality. And that highest numerical strength, or that highest population, it generally creates the economic and political power or political supremacy. Okay, so, as Nibhas, he is trying to give the new dimension to caste system is that the number and as we said, the power or the dominance, ritual dominancy, it tries to bring change in the particular localities. Okay, so we have also seen that to gain that dominant status, many caste community or caste association, they try different different types of strategy to get that uh, numerical strength or to get that dominance. Okay, so sometimes that numerical strength, uh, it become you will say it is not that much important if the political and economic strength is higher. Okay, so the base of dominancy, it could be the numerical strength first, then it could be the political and economic strength. Okay, on that basis they can be the dominant group in that particular locality or in that particular region. Okay, so another researcher who have tried to give us the new dimensions on the different dimensions of caste system, that is John Mancher. Okay, so she had argued that the study, it was conducted in Tamil Nadu and among the untouchable groups. Okay, so the Srinivas work, that is mainly on the uh, particular group, caste group, that is the Brahmins. And here Mancher has tried to give the field view of the untouchable communities of the Tamil Nadu. Okay, she argues that functionality of the caste system is only for those castes that enjoy the privileges. On the other hand, the lower caste group, they are they are tortured or they are exploited. Okay, they suffer from economic and social exploitation. Okay, and here, as we have said that there is a there is a cooperation among the different caste group, as we have discussed that in the Jazmani system. Okay, so there are various mode of interaction are there, and we believe that those interaction are not torturous or not exploitative. But here in field view of in Tamil Nadu, you could see that the description or the indicative which are prescribed to the higher caste group, that are that are only happening. And the kind of interaction or the kind of power it has explained to the lower caste group, that is not actually working. Okay, so exploitation, that is not mentioned in our text, but that is happening and that is done in a particular strategic manner. Okay, so the relationship among the different caste group, it is not the smooth, rather it is more exploitative. So the higher strata, they are exploiting the lower groups or the lower caste groups. Okay, here you will find that she reveals that there has been a protest from the caste located at the lowest rung of the hierarchy, sometimes explicitly or other time tactically. Okay, and that, as we mentioned that the relationship was more exploitative by the upper caste group. So they have these lower caste group. They have they have opposite they have opposed that kind of exploitation, and those exploitative oppositions or those kind of movements that has not covered in our text, or that are a very that has not got any place in our history. Okay, so that is unnoticed, and purposively that had not mentioned in our histories or writings. Okay, and tactically they have also tried to protest or raise their voice against that kind of exploitation. For example, in our last class we are discussing in Jajmani system, if they are not satisfied with the kind of behavior by the judgments, they will straight away refrain from doing that kind of service or from rendering that kind of service. So these are the tactful kind of strategy they are trying to adopt to show their protest against that exploitation. Okay, and here we will see that those protests, they are considered as the insignificant, and they don't have any kind of historical evidence because they have not been mentioned in our history. Okay, and in a present context you have seen that those protests, why they have not got the place in our history, because they have not registered their complaint against the higher caste group. So that kind of action needs many courage. Okay, and there are many insecurities and many kind of fears are there. If they will complain any kind of laws, then they may lose their economic security. It means they may be uh, thrown out from that Jasmani system. Okay, no longer any judgment will need their service. Okay, so if that is happening, because as we have seen that caste system, it is providing you the source of livelihood, and these lower caste group, they earn their livelihood only doing these kind of traditional occupations, by adopting those traditional occupation. If that thing is snatched away by the upper caste group, uh, it means if they don't require those kind of service, then definitely they have to suffer more. Okay, so and another kind of exploitation or another kind of fear you have seen, that they may be excommunicated from the particular community. It means they will be isolated from that particular community. Like we have heard that they will cut off some common resources like water, fire, common cremation ground, or many kind of common resources are there which will be taken away by the community members. So without that common resources, they will not survive, they cannot survive. So because of these kind of fear and because of these kind of consequences, they hesitate to register their complaint against this kind of exploitation or against these kind of you will see these kind of oppositions. Okay, so that is one thing. In another study done by Lynch of Jatavs of Agra, those are you will say the lower caste group in Agra. Okay, he has done the study that there are many protesters there by the lower caste group, for example, against the process of Sanskritization. They don't actually adopt that process of Sanskritization, but at the one point they were in favor of Sanskritization to gain that higher strata, or to avail the resources and power of higher caste group. Okay, they were in favor of that at one point of the time. But when the constitutional rights are given, or it is given to the every citizen of India, they they didn't accept that process of Sanskritization. Rather they take the they take the help of constitutions and democratic process to get their rights or to get their economic and political rights. Okay, here you will see, as Lins has explained, that these Jatavas reject the complete process of Sanskritization when they got other avenues of mobility. Okay, and that is these avenues, he argues, that have been thrown open by the process of parliamentary democracy and possibility of political participation of the Jatavas. Okay, here you will say that these community, they are stigmatized. Okay, and they have taken a refugee in the democratic constitution of the social fabric in independent India. Okay, and they assert their right on the basis of equality and argue for the provision of equal opportunity. They confirm secular association instead of the traditional panchayats. Okay, as in our rural areas, you will see they will try to have that traditional political organization or political system, caste panchayats or gram panchayats. But these Jatavs of Agra, they have tried to pick the more secular form of political institution in their areas. Okay, and they also contested in election by forming political parties and thereby try to enhance their social status. Okay, they also attain political and economic powers that were denied to them in the traditional caste system. Okay, as they have adopted the uh, democratic and constitutional medium to get their rights and to get their privileges and to get their uh, shares in the society, they have got very they have got that position in a smooth manner. Okay, so they have straight away rejected the other way of social mobility, that is Sanskritization. Okay, where they have to adopt the twice born custom lifestyles, etc., to have those power, prestige, and privileges in a particular society. Okay. In other case, Singh, he has discussed the pattern of Sanskritization uh, as Sanskritization in traditional caste hierarchy. Okay, here he has tried to explain that the third pattern in Sanskritization is even more important from a sociological point of view. Sanskritization is such caste takes place through increased puritanism and traditionalism in caste, along with the in a caste, along with rejection of the superiority of the twice born caste. Here Singh's perspective is different. Here he want to say that why to adopt the particular caste, mm, caste lifestyle only, why to adopt Brahmins lifestyles or Brahmins custom traditions to get that uplifted status in the caste hierarchy. Okay, there they are they argues that certain caste group, they consider themselves higher than the caste, the Brahmins. Okay, and they consider that they are more pure than the Brahmins group. Okay, here he has given the examples of caste of eastern Uttar Pradesh refused to accept water even from the Brahmins, considering them as the less pure than themselves. Okay. Similarly, in many other untouchable castes, the process of Sanskritization include the rejection of some model of book view of caste system. Okay. Uh, so here, against that process of Sanskritization as as Srinivasa's view, you will find many kind of strategies which are operating in the different field. Okay, so the locational variation, it is present, and it can only be found if we are studying those class, or if we are studying those caste communities in a empirical manner. Okay, so that could only be can only be included when we are doing some kind of field work in the different parts of India. Okay, so that is one thing. And further, we have noted that the caste system has often been considered as a system which is maintained rigidly through the practices of endogamy and the ideology of purity pollution, ignoring the conflict of power and privileges. The field view of caste, however, revealed that uh, the caste system, the hierarchy of caste system, that is most affected by the political and economic factor. As the Srinivas he was trying to point out in the case of dominant caste, the basis of dominancy, it may be uh, the strength or the numerical status, or it can be the political and the economic status of that particular caste, so they can dominate. Okay, here you will see the Rudolph, they have revealed that political cloth can be used to change even the status in the caste hierarchy, and many rights can be acquired which are once denied to the caste. Okay, so when we have the constitutional powers or constitutional rights, so through that process, by performing or by exercising those constitutional rights, we can certainly get those rights and privileges in that traditional caste hierarchy system. For example, as we have seen in recent days, accessibility to working place, the worship place like mandirs. Okay, accessibility to access to the educational institutions. Okay, or access to different many other kind of common resource point like the water, common water source. Okay, so these kind of uh, accessibility are that are being got because of that process of constitutional uh, rights or constitutional power. Okay, they can get that right by exercising that constitutional rights or constitutional power. Okay, so those rights or those privileges are easily given to them because they have that constitutional rights, because all are equal in the eye of constitutions. Okay, so which could take a very longer period if they have tried to access it through that other mode of mobility like sanskritization. Okay, so that is one way. And here we will try to find other kind of other kind of examples which have been given, that they are giving new dimension to the caste system. As we have seen that Kothari explained that traditionally there are two aspects of secular organization of caste: the governmental aspect, which include caste council, village arbitration process, and so on. Okay, so constitution it also recognize that traditional political system in the village areas, or caste council in the village areas. Okay, and the political aspect, which include the intra-caste and inter-caste authority and caste alignments and cleavage. Okay, so here constitution that is also accepting that smaller political association or institutions which are present in the caste systems, or which are framing in different caste group, it has accepted. Okay, and these are dispensed through authority relationship of the local elites and central central political system. In the present day, electoral and party politics assume tremendous importance to these caste associations. Okay, and there is a continuous co-option of more and more strata in the political decision making process. Okay, in some regions the Brahmin got involved readily, in others, particularly where Brahmins were not dominant, certain agricultural upper caste, they got involved in the political party, or they got that politicization of caste system. Okay, where Brahmins were not dominated, other caste they have took that chance. Okay, here another view is that is given that according to Dalits, caste system was framed by the Aryans to subjugate them, okay, or to dominate them, because their numerical strength was very low. Okay, uh, they were very few in numbers, and they need to control the indigenous people, so they frame the uh, caste system, and they are proposing that Dalits who are, they are egalitarian, and they are being divided in advent of that caste system, or when Aryans they invaded in our lands. Okay, and various caste movements as Adi Dravid were led by this ideology. Okay, and here we will say that you will see that when these other process of conversion, other religion they have advented in India, they have also tried to convert those native people to that, they have tried to introduce them to the caste system. As they have said that the Islam or Sikhism, Christianity, they have also introduced these native indigenous people to the caste system, and they're totally ignorant about that caste systems, or they're more egalitarian. Okay, and here you will see that later the Dalit leader mobilized the untouchables and Sudras, and in under the banner of majority and minority communities, uh, minorities community, they have tried to mobilize those groups. Okay, we can say we are the minors, the Dalits they are proposing, and the Aryans they are the majors, or they are the minors, we are the majors. Okay, so that ideology, or that kind of idea has been put among the Sudras or untouchables. Okay, and the Dalits they argued that the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas constitute only 50% of the total population. Okay, hence they are minority to the Dalits who constitute the remaining populations. Okay, here uh, the Brahmin perspective is that untouchables and the Sudra they are minor, because they are dominated by them, and Brahmins are the dominated caste group, and other caste groups are also having that position of dominance. Okay, but the Dalits view is that as they are the larger in the population, they are the major, and Aryans are the minors. Okay, that is their idea. Okay, here in the field based study we will try to find out what is happening in different parts of the India, okay, in respect to the caste system or caste interaction process. Okay, so in field view, the field view it equips the researcher to take account the internal faction within the caste. A researcher can observe everyday interaction between various castes in a village, in economic, political, and socio-religious spheres in a field situation, and then develop a holistic framework for exploring the social status and mobility of different castes. Okay, so if we are going to field, then we can minutely observe the caste system. What are the different groups are there? Is it only that four burners and that four caste are there? Okay, or there are many divisions are there. Okay, so what are the different factions are there in that particular area, and how they are interacting, what is their daily interaction system in that particular locality. Okay, and by doing this kind of field work, a researcher can develop a holistic framework for exploring these social exploring the social status and mobility of different caste groups. Okay, uh, there are few important field view or research are there which can be discussed. Okay, and we here we will try to evaluate the analysis of uh, caste undertaken by the FG Valley, Adrian C. Mayer, Mackin Marriott, and O.M. Lynch. Okay, the contribution made by this author is significant because their understanding of caste is based on field view. And they have also tried to look at the caste system in India in an operational term, not in the book interpretative manner. Okay. Uh, First, we will discuss the Mackin Marriott study, which is done in Uttar Pradesh of Kisangari village. Okay, that is present in Aligarh district. Okay. Here, Marriott has tried to analyze the social hierarchy of caste system in that Kisangari village. That village is here you will find different caste group in Kisangari village, and they are practicing different occupation. But interestingly, all the people did not give the same rank order to caste. Okay, because as we have said that there are different caste occupations are there or traditional occupations are there, but they are not given same kind of rank as they are following same kind of occupations. Okay, again, there was disparity between the rank ascribed to a caste in the scripture and that ascribed to it by the people. Okay, so as in our classical scriptures, as they have stratified different caste group, here in Kisangari village you may not find that kind of ascriptions. Means if the highest strata, it may not be found by that particular caste. Okay, and that stratification of bottom and middle caste group, that may not be the same, possessed by the same caste group as it was and it is described in our classical literatures. Okay, here you will find that the caste did not seem to derive their position in the social hierarchy from the highness or lowness of their attributes. Okay, in fact, some of the attributes such as diet and occupational restriction are not determined in ascription of rank to the caste. uh, Here he will he found that the categorization of food into pakka and kacha and its acceptance from those equal in caste rank or refusal from the lower those lower in caste rank was not a sufficient criterion to determine the social position of a caste hierarchy. Okay, so here we will not find, as we are describing the purity and pollution, which is a pure food, which is a polluted food. If the person is accepting the pure food, then his that groups, that particular caste group will be placed in the higher rank in that particular caste hierarchy. That is not found in the Kisangari village. Okay, in the Kisangari village itself, the vegetarian caste, like the washerman, and the non-vegetarian caste, like the leather workers, okay, chamars, they occupied the same position in the caste hierarchy. As we have seen that if you are taking the uh, pakka food or if you are taking that non-vegetarian food, your position will be the lower strata. As in our previous class we were discussing, there are different types of non-veg are there, non-vegetarian food are there, and based on the kind of non-vegetarian food you are picking, your caste strata will be like that. Like beef, pork, mutton, chicken, egg. Okay, this is the sequence. If you are taking these kind of food, then your strata will be like that. Okay, uh, your strata will be hierarchized from the uh, from the bottom to top in that particular sequence. Okay, here you are seeing that the washerman who is totally vegetarian and the leather worker who is doing that impure work as it is described in our script, and that is also taking the non-vegetarian food, they are placed in the same rank of that caste hierarchy. That is different what is found uh, mm, in our book or in our scripts. Okay, here Marriott also found that in relation to the occupational hierarchy or ranking of the caste on the basis of purity of occupation, the placement of caste did not follow from the highness or lowness of the occupation. Thus, those castes that follows clean occupation are ranked differently. The carpenter was higher than the gardener, who was considered higher than the cultivators, and so on. The barbers, shepherd, and several others were, however, placed on the same level of the uh, local hierarchy. Okay, so there are many uh, types of findings, a new dimension you will find in the field view. Okay, uh, here you will also find that Marriott is also trying to stress that there are many higher caste groups are there. They are also taking the non-vegetarian food, like the Brahmins of Kashmir and West Bengal. They are they find they accommodate that non-vegetarian, and in spite of such dietary habit, they continue to occupy important social position in caste hierarchy. Okay, so the book view it remains silent in this case. Okay, and the field view it's propose other kind of scenario to that uh, uh, to that book view. Okay, the field view it is proposing the other kind of scenario. Okay, so another example of field view, it is the study on a village of Odisha of the Kendrapada district of, that is called the Bisipada. है ना? Bisipada village of Orissa. Here, F.G. Bailey had studied the political and economic structure of that village. Okay. Bailey studied the Bisipada village of Odisha, which had several caste groups represented by the different population size. It may be from the single occupation on person to the more than 100 person. Okay. Uh, Caste according to Bailey, it is stand in a ritual and secular. Here Bailey sees that the caste system as a dynamic one in which different castes are held together by the power of dominant caste. The component of ritual status or a caste group goes hand in hand with the political and economic status. Okay, so if your political and economic status is higher, then your ritual status will be obviously higher in this village of Odisha. Okay, the relationship between caste is simply based on the practice of ritual. Okay, how different kind of rituals they are observed in the caste area. Okay, uh, here the pattern of interaction becomes an indicator of ritual status in the hierarchy. The pattern of interaction include the acceptance and distribution of food, acceptance of water, willingness to smoke together or sit together may also be treated as the indicator of pattern of interaction. Okay, exchange of gift is also included in this list. Bailey has also talked about the interaction between the people of same caste spread over the different uh, uh, different village in this particular region. Okay, here in Bisipoda, you will see the warrior stood at the top of the ritual caste hierarchy. Next only to the sole Brahmin family in the village. Okay, as we are describing that particular caste group, Brahmin, they have a higher caste in the traditional village structure or in the caste structure. But here you will find that the warrior group, they are possessing same kind of status in this Bisipoda village. Okay, and here the warrior group, they own large part of the land dominated by the, and they dominate the village council. But when the change come, like that land policy, okay, or you will find after the independence or after that different constitutional amendment, so changes it has happened. So the person or the group, they are possessing the larger chunk of the land. They are no longer that landlords. Okay, their land were being seized, so they lost their position. Okay, here uh, after experiencing the winds of change, the warrior position came to be an ambiguous in the ritual hierarchy because they lost much of their land. Moreover, the merchant caste as well as the distiller caste people came to claim a position next to the Brahmin. So when they lost their economic status, so other caste group, they are trying to take over that position, which is the position of next to the Brahmins. Okay, so these kind of field variation you will find in different parts of the India. Okay, and going to the another field view of Madhya Pradesh, Ramkiri village of uh, Madhya Pradesh, which Mayor has studied. He has tried to visualize caste system. Uh, Here he had tried to study the 25 Hindus and two Muslim caste communities in that Ramkheri village. Okay, uh, Mayor want to understand the hierarchy of caste system in that Ramkiri village by understanding the commensal relation among the caste system. Okay, and what are the different form of commensality which he has tried to figure out. The first is type of activity like eating, drinking water, and smoking. How they are trying to behave in this particular situation, if they are eating together or smoking together, or they are taking water from the same pot or same utensils or same container. Okay, these are the behavior or how they are behaving in that particular situation. Okay, and type of food, one is the kacha food and pakka food, who is taking what kind of food, and according to that uh, we will try to figure out the hierarchy. Okay, and the place and the context of eating, where if commensality is there in respect to food, drinking, and smoking, where and when they are trying to take. Okay, it means the uh, place and the occasion. Okay, uh, the place in the context of eating, wedding, or any kind of that in the death rituals or mourning. Okay, so if in those kind of situation they are taking the food or not. Okay, who is sitting next to whom in while they are eating. Okay, and who provides the food, who cook the food. Okay, in what vessel is water given, and brass or earthen pot. Okay, so these kind of parameters or these kind of question he has framed to find out the caste hierarchy in that Ramkheri village of Madhya Pradesh. Okay, uh, here some of the factors which he has tried to propose, that is the commensal hierarchy is based on the theory that each caste has certain quality of ritual purity which is lessened or polluted by the certain commensal contact with the caste having inferior quality. Okay, hence a superior caste does not eat from the cooking vessels or the hand of a caste that it regards as an inferior, or nor will its members sit next to the inferior people in the same unbroken uh, lean line. Okay, when eating and drinking and smoking follows the similar rules of exclusion. Okay, here we want to try say mayor want to explain that if a particular caste group they are considering another caste group lower than their status, then they will not take the food from them, or they will not take the water from them, or they will not sit in the same line if they are considering the other caste group as a lower caste group. Same line when while eating. Okay, and they will try to eh, divide the different groups while this commensality is happening, or while this kind of common eating or common smoking or drinking, that kind of incident that are happening. Okay, according to Mayer, the position of a caste on the commensal hierarchy can be assessed on the principle that eating the food cooked or served by another caste denotes quality with or inferiority, and that not to eat denotes equality and superiority. Okay, uh, if they are eating the food cooked or served by the other caste denote they are equal and they are, or they are inferior. Okay, they may allow, or they may say that these are equal, we are equal, we will take commonly. Okay, if they are not eating, it denotes the equality and superiority. Okay, it means those lower caste group will consider the other caste group as the superior and they are not equal. Okay, to put in another way, those from those from whom all will eat are higher than the from whom none will eat. Okay, if you are taking the uh, if everyone is taking food and water from you, it means your strata is higher, your position is higher in a particular strata. If no one is taking food or water from you, it means your position in the social hierarchy is lower. Okay, so there are many kind of instances or many kind of examples he has tried to give in. Here you will see that the Brahmins, all the other castes accept food cooked by the Brahmins and drink freely from their earthen pot. Okay, and moreover, according to Mayer, next to Brahmin in the hierarchy are two groups of caste. One group is the vegetarian, while the other group is the non-vegetarian. Rajput eat non-vegetarian food but consider barber and the potterers as the inferior because they accept the kacha food from the inferior carpenter or farmer. Okay, and the dairyman of Ramkheri accept kacha food only from the Brahmins but from no other caste. Only some most inferior caste, weaver, tanner, and sweeper, accept food from them. In a similar way, oil presser of Ramkheri are ranked slightly above the dairymen because at least a few castes above them eat from them. Carpenter, gardener, smith, farmer, and a tailor caste accept kacha food only from the Brahmins. Carpenter is placed high because he eats only from the Brahmins, and the farmer is placed lower than the carpenter because he accepts food from the Rajputs and potterers. Okay, so these are the hierarchy which is based on the commensality of food, how they are taking and how they are behaving in that particular time of eating and drinking. Okay, class, here I will take a 10-minute break, then again we will restart. Okay. of purity and pollution. And in the previous discussion, we stated that there are, in operational label, you will find other kind of variations, or you will find uh, these description or these explanation may not be these are the true. Okay, in the field area or in that particular operational area, these explanations are not true. Okay, as not true or new dimension we are trying to find out. Okay, and here going to the unit 7, that is titled Ambedkar's and Lohia on caste. Okay, what is their perspective on the caste system or on the caste itself? Okay, so going to the Ambedkar's idea, as we have we know that he is the constitution giver. He framed the constitution, and he has given many things to Indian people. Okay, so what is his idea on particular caste system? Okay, so Ambedkar drew attention to the rigidity of caste system, and he argued that the principle of graded inequality as a fundamental principle is beyond controversy, or it is undoubtedly accepted by all that there is a inequality which is hierarchicized, or the hierarchy, different hierarchy, they have given different kind of rights, prestige and privileges which are not equal with the other strata or other grade. Okay, so graded inequality is the it is the undisputed principle of caste system according to uh, mm, according to B.R. Ambedkar. Okay, here you will find that there are four classes. They are not only different but also unequal in status. One stand above the other. In the scheme of Manu, the Brahmins occupies the supermost rank, followed by the Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. Below Sudra you will find the untouchable community. Okay, uh, according to Ambedkar, the Hindu social order does not recognize the equal need, equal work, and equal ability as the basis of reward and labor. Okay, so Ambedkar is trying to say that, or it is trying to propose that the achieved status is not important as the ascribed status on the basis of your birth, that is more important. Okay, so that hierarchical system or that gradation system, it totally ignore or it totally deny that uh, quality like that is the ability and the uh, equal rights, equality and ability. Okay, so no individual cannot be individuals in a particular society, they cannot be equal. And uh, if a particular person that is able to have on that status, that recognition will not be given to that individual. So that is his idea on caste society in India. Okay, and the Hindu social order, it's favor the distribution of good things of the life among the those who are reckoned as the highest in the social hierarchy. So the better life chances and the good thing, it means the larger share of your resources, the better share or the uh, uh, most valuable share things that will be distributed among the higher strata of the caste hierarchy. And uh, the lower strata, the second principle is that the lower strata, they will not get the equal opportunity, or they will not get that better life chances in that particular society. And the second principle on which Hindu social order it is founded is that of the prescribed graded occupation that are inherited from the father to son in each classes. Okay, so here the that is the occupational inheritance, traditional occupational inheritance, that is another base of hierarchicization. Okay, here that occupation will decide you in which structure or in which ladder of that caste you will be placed. Okay, that is one thing. And according to Ambedkar, there is nothing strange or peculiar that the Hindu social order recognize classes. As we all knows that there are classes everywhere and no society exists without them. Even a free social order will not be able to get rid of the class completely. Okay, a free social order however aims to prevent isolation and exclusiveness, because both make the member of a class inimical towards the one another. Okay, so as we know that class is inevitable and it is definitely present in a particular society, because the base of class, as we all knows, that it is the amount of the resource position, quantitative position of the resources. When you are quantitatively analyzing the position of the resources which is possessed by the different individuals. Okay, so that is the major base of class analysis, or hierarchizing the individuals on the basis of class. Okay, so in caste system also you will find these class hierarchization, because as we said that the base thing or the better goods will be distributed among the higher strata caste groups. Okay, so it is definitely present, you will find the presence of caste system, class system in the class hierarchy, caste stratification system. Okay, and Ambedkar has also tried to interpret the Barner theory. Okay, how he has tried to interpret it, that Barner theory. He recognized the existence of four burners in Hindu social order, and the Hindu social order is primarily based on the class or the burner and not individual, not on the individuals. Okay, he opined that the Hindu unit of society is not the individual Brahmins or the individual Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra or the untouchables. The unit of Hindu society is the class or Varna. Okay, and in Hindu social order, there is no room for the individual merit and no consideration of the individual justice. Okay, here the Varna will be considered as the unit of analysis. The privileges goes with the class, and if he or she is found to be enjoy it, it is because he or she belong to that particular caste or particular class or particular burn. Conversely, an individual suffer, or it is not because he or she deserve it, but it is because the virtue of his conduct. Rather, it is the because he belongs or she belongs to that particular caste. Okay, so if you are enjoying the power, privileges, and prestige, it is not because you are worth of it or you are capable of that. It is because you are born to that particular higher caste. Okay, and if you are not enjoying or if you are tortured, you are suffering, it means you are in a lower caste group, or that necessarily doesn't denote that it is because of your work or it is because of your you deserve that kind of suffering. Okay, it is only because you are in a particular lower caste group. Okay, that is his analysis. The burner, uh, it is prescribed or it is interpreted by Ambedkar like that. Okay. And Ambedkar also analyzed the division of society into Varna or the Hindu social order. Uh, he argues that because of this division of Hindu social order has failed to uphold the liberty, equality, and fraternity. Okay, so as society is totally graded, so you cannot give these kind of essential three essential principles to any of the individuals. Okay, because we have from the beginning we have hierarchized or we have graded those individuals. Okay, so there the equality will not be possible, the liberty it is will not be possible, and fraternity it will again not be possible, because we have said that that particular class or the burner they are different from you, and they are higher or they are lower from you. Okay, so fraternity will never come. Again, fraternity it may be possible among those single caste group, but among the society it will not be it, within a particular society it is not possible, because they are graded on the basis of the varna or the that is yesterday we were talking of, that is the skin color. Okay, the doctrine that that the different classes are created from the different parts of the divine body has generated the belief that it must be divine will that they should remain separated and distinct. It is belief, it is this belief which has created the Hindu an instinct to be different, to be separated, and to be distinct from the rest of the fellow Hindus. In the same vein, Ambedkar adds that the most extensive and wide manifestation of this spirit of isolation and separation is of the course of caste system. Okay, so as the theories of origin of caste system propose that uh, Vedas they are saying that caste or the burner that is originated from the different parts of the Purusa or Brahma as we recognize. Like from the mouth, Brahmins they were born. From the arms, the Kshatriya they have born. Or from the thighs, the Vaishya they have born. And from the feet, the Sudras they have born. Okay, so these are the explanation from where these Varna they have originated. So they Hindu try to stick to that point. We should obey, or we should try to give importance that origination or that origin. Okay, so that they remain separated from the rest of the Hindus. Okay, and we have seen that originally there were only four Varnas were there, or four castes were there, but now it has gone beyond the thousands, many thousands we have found. And among those caste system we will also find the subcaste which are present. Here Ambedkar asks, does the Hindu social order recognize equality? Certainly it is not. Okay, so Hindu doesn't recognize the that order, Hindu social order that doesn't recognize that equality. Okay, uh, because we have seen that mouth cannot be same with the arm cannot be same with the thighs, and thigh cannot be same with the feet, or any of these body part. They are not same, so they will not remain equal. So the Hindu social order it doesn't accept that theory of equality. Okay, and according to Ambedkar, how he has tried to perceive the genesis of caste system. Okay, uh, Ambedkar has tried to study the different definitions which are proposed by Senat, Nesfield, Risley, Ketkar. Closely, he has tried to study the Ketkar's idea on caste. Okay, here Ambedkar he has adopted the Ketkar's definition of caste. According to Ketkar, caste is a social group having two characteristics. Membership is confined to those who are born of the members and includes all the persons who born. Okay, if you are born to that particular caste, and whosoever is born to that particular caste will be included in that particular caste group. The members are forbidden by an inexorable social law to marry outside the caste group. Means exogamy is totally banned in the caste system, so they follow the endogamy. Okay, Okay, and here as caste system is defined by other social scientists also, that it is the isolated Ambedkar also accept that concept. Caste is a isolated unit. Okay, and Ambedkar analyze only those elements from the definition of caste which he regarded the peculiar and universal occurrence. Okay, and you will find that Ketkar identified those two characteristics as the prohibition of intermarriage and membership by the autogeny. It means, like we said, that as many members born to that particular caste will be considered as the members of that particular caste, and there is a prohibition of intercaste marriage. Okay, here Ambedkar has also tried to say that caste system has either been imposed upon the docile population of India by the lawgiver like Manu, or it is it has been imposed as a divine dispensation of the law. Okay, and it has developed according to some law or social growth peculiar to the Indian people. Okay, so it is not accepted, rather it is given to the docile people of India. Okay, and according to Ambedkar, the subdivision of a society is quite natural. Okay, as he was mentioning, originally they were four, but now we have found many numbers, more than thousands. Okay, so the subdivision is, it is quite natural, but the unnatural things about this subdivision is that they have lost the opened the character of the class system and have become self-enclosed unit called caste. Okay, as we have said that if one thing is that is getting that is getting divided, it means you will find there is a connection with the larger part from where they have got divided. Okay, as the class system it is proposing, but in a caste system, when they are divided, they are strictly closing themselves within that particular group. There is literally they are trying to cut off the relations with the other groups or other units. Okay, that he has tried to propose how a caste system it is working. Okay, and going to the division of labor which is present in the caste system, according to Ambedkar, he has tried to say that caste system it is Ambedkar says that the caste system again assigned the task to individuals on the basis of the social status of the parents. Okay, uh, here the stratification of occupation, that is the result of the caste system, is positively pernicious. Okay, now the caste system does not allow Hindus to adopt occupation that do not belong to them by the hereditary. Okay, uh, you have seen that traditional occupation of the caste system, they try to promote that opting of that traditional occupation, and they try to dissuade you to opt the other kind of occupation which is not traditionally assigned to you. Okay, that is the kind of division of labor. Okay, and here as we have mentioned that on the basis of the need they have tried to segregated the individuals, and they have tried to assign different kind of occupation to these different caste groups. Okay, here another dimension it has been given by the Ambedkar, that is how socialist they have tried to interpret the caste system. Their view was that caste system can be ended, or it can be diluted by proposing certain kind of economic programs, or when economically if individual they are equal, then there may not be the the caste system. Okay, so Ambedkar uh, questioned that if acquiring economic power is the only motive by which man is actuated, the economic power is the only kind of power that one can exercise effectively over other. Okay, here Ambedkar is saying that the elimination of caste through economic reform is not tenable. Hence, socialists would have to deal with the hierarchy in a caste first before effecting the economic change. Okay, as they are saying that if we could bring that change in the economic sphere of the caste groups, then there may be certain kind of equality among the caste. Okay, but Ambedkar is proposing that if you are trying to propose certain kind of economic programs, then you have to face that challenge of caste inequality. Like you must have seen that certain kind of relief or certain kind of social status, property distribution, they are divided on the basis of class hierarchy, caste hierarchy. Okay, some may get the relief if the higher share of relief if they belong to the highest rank. Okay, the lower caste will get the lowest amount of that relief system or that relief amount. Okay, that will only possible. So the policies and program, the benefits of that economic policies and programs will be largely enjoyed by the higher caste group, and the benefits or the facilities will be least enjoyed by the lower caste group. That is the actual operational procedure in a particular caste society. So how they are going to uh, create that economic equality? Okay, he has questioned that. And Ambedkar has proposed another procedure or another concept that is called annihilation of caste. How it can be done? Okay, here Ambedkar he has tried to put that uh, caste it is not a physical object like a brick or a line of barbed wire that prevents the Hindus from free social interaction. So he is saying that it is not kind of a physical object or like a boundary or a barbed fencing it has done surrounded the around the Hindus. Rather, it is a notion. Okay, so caste is a notion, and it is a notion in a state of mind. Okay, if someone wants to break the caste system, he or she has to attack the sacredness and the divinity of the caste. Okay, and he believed that Ambedkar believed that the real way to annihilate the caste system is to destroy the belief in the sanctity of the shastras. Okay, here he has also proposed that the reformers working for the removal of untouchability, including Mahatma Gandhi, doesn't seem to realize that the act of people are merely the result of their belief inculcated upon their minds by the Shastras. And the people will not change their conduct until they cease the belief in the sanctity of the Shastra on which their conduct is founded. Okay, so Ambedkar is trying to question the process of uh, eradication of untouchability as picked off by the Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, so he is saying that unless until you have tried to seize the belief on Shastras, the peoples will not behave in a proposed way, or they will not try to annihilate that caste system, or they will not try to forgo that untouchability. Okay, they will strictly adhere to that old caste system. Okay, so these are the propositions which was proposed by the Ambedkar. Okay, and Another thinker who has tried to give a different idea on caste system is he is Ram Manohar Lohia. Okay, here Lohia, he has tried to believe that, he has tried to explain that caste system will exist in one form or other, one form or the other, wherever there is a hereditary production through, though on a small scale. Okay, so further he is saying that whenever there is a centralization of land, or when land owning classes hold power, there would be kshatriya varna. Okay, so he is saying that if the traditional inheritance or that hereditary procedure is not getting stopped, you will find that gradation, you will find that mm, segregation of the society. Okay, and he is in belief that the development of caste system is related with the development of the craft knowledge. Okay, the brahmin is a burner, but the burner in itself does not connote an occupation. This is also true of the Kshatriya and Vaishya Varna. Vaishya, for example, can be traders, agriculturalists, and pastoralists. They do not follow the only one occupation. Okay. Reference to Kumhar, Lohar, Sunar, and Chamar is, however, accompanied with the connotation of occupation. Hence, according to Lohia, castes are in reality found in Sudra Varna only. So, those Varna only inherit that traditional occupation. They are only identified and focused to uh, that particular kind of traditional occupation. No other caste is actually in reality trying to adopt those traditional occupations. Okay, the for example, you have seen that the Jat, Gujar, Ohir, these are the few groups uh, who are treated as Jat, and here you will find that the Ahir community, they are now treated as the milk traders, but traditionally that occupation was not attached to them. Okay, so Ahir were, according to Lohia, they were a republic society. They means all their needs were fulfilled by themselves only. Okay, so they were not confined to one kind of occupation, and they had merged with the federal system, and they have changed their caste, or now they have considered, they are actually identified with that particular kind of occupation that is called the milk trading. Okay, so according to Lohia, endogamy is the another characteristics of a caste system. Okay, so here they have said that a particular caste community, they cannot intermarry, endogamy has to strictly followed. Okay, Lohi has also tried to refer the Marxian writings. According to Lohia, the important aspect in Marx writing is that the exchange takes place not only at the individual level but also at the level of the family and tribe. Okay, so here the division of labor, uh, which is leading to the specialization of the labor, it is that division or that specialization, it is not confined to the particular individual only, rather it is spreading to the whole community or whole society also. Okay, so Lohi has also tried to propose other dimensions of caste system, as he has also given some points on how dysfunction and annihilation of caste is possible. Okay, and here he has given how caste caste can be ended. Okay, so Lohia's end caste conference. Here Lohia organized a conference, end caste conference, in Patna on March 31st April, April 2nd April. Okay, and between March 31st and 2nd April in 1961, and passed the following resolution for the annihilation of the caste in India. Okay, so Ambedkar has its own thought process to annihilate the caste, and here Lohia has its own resolution how caste can be annihilated. Okay, here he has proposed that mixed dinner, mean commensality. The conference appealed to the people of India and its unit to organize mixed dinner parties everywhere in the country, especially in the village. Yes, to promote that commensality. Because the previous researchers, as we have seen in the field view, they are trying to impose that idea. Uh, the gradation is done on the basis of how you are taking the food, from which caste group you are taking the food, or from which caste group you are taking the water. So he is trying to propose that if we are trying to uh, organize those mixed dinner parties, then it may certainly work. Okay, and especially in the rural areas and marriages. So as he has pointed that caste system, the most important characteristics by Lohia is that endogamy. So marriage is another way by through which we can end that caste system. We can annihilate that caste system. The conference has also resolved that caste system can be destroyed only when intercaste marriage become a common. To propagate these ideas, discussion, plays, fair should be organized. Okay, so different like the street plays, some plays, okay, or some kind of debate discussion, it can be organized in those local grassroots level areas. Okay, to enforce the intercaste marriage by the government would not be suffice. The conference was clear that here intercaste marriage would mean the marriage between the Dusar and Sudra, and not between the different subcaste or among the higher caste groups. Okay, the conference suggested open that title affixed to name should be evolved in such a way that it doesn't indicate the caste of a person. So Luhi is trying to propose that uh, it should not, the titles which is affixed to the particular name, it should not reveal the caste of that particular person. So it should be in a different way. And another resolution was that the conference also passed a resolution for granting special opportunities those who have been oppressed for thousands of years, so as to bring about the positive change in the tradition set off in the society because of the caste system results in erosion of the strength and abilities of these. Keeping in mind the question of merit, the conference resolved whether able or not, women, Sudras, Harijans, backward caste, Adivasis, and Muslims like Weavers will have to give have to be given 60% of the reservation. Okay, so he has also proposed for the some kind of affirmative action and some the procedures of reservation. Okay, so class today we will stop here, and in our next class we will take up from the next unit. Okay, thank you.